Karen Derrico of Doubling Down with the Derricos is 43 years old and has 14 children. However, Karen and her spouse Deon Derrico have not had an easy time on their path to becoming his wonderful parents. On the most recent episode of Doubling Down with the Derricos, the TLC show couple who recently gave birth to triplets discovered that baby Dawsyn had a hole in her heart. Everything that a healthy reality program ought to have is present in Doubling Down with the Derricos. It has all the makings of a traditional TLC-style big family, plenty of sweetness and heart. Deon, a 49-year-old Las Vegas resident, and his spouse Karen are no strangers to television. It was just a matter of time for them to receive their own show after making headlines a few years prior for giving birth to their quintuplets. With 11 kids under their belt and 3 more on the way, the Derricos family's Doubling Down depicts the highs and lows of life centered around extreme parenting. TLC fans are praising Karen for her well-organized schedule for the kids ages 2 to 14 as she prepares to give birth to her second set of triplets. In the Derricos' Tuesday episode of Doubling Down, Karen had an unplanned cesarean section to deliver her premature triplets. The Derricos were ecstatic to welcome their newest additions, but they also got some very depressing news. When Karen's triplets arrived, Derricos and Doubling Down observed her anxious. Carter, the baby from her previous pair, died after giving birth too soon. Thus, Deon and the medical staff were in full panic mode when Karen began to have contractions at 28 weeks. The Derrico mother's stress level increased when the city experienced a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. Deon was called to the hospital, where Karen underwent a 2-hour procedure while under a lot of medication. The number of Derrico children has increased to 14 after she gave birth to 2 girls and 1 boy. Sadly, Dawsyn, the oldest baby daughter, was born with a hole in her heart as a birth abnormality. 2 procedures were necessary for the triplet infant, one to implant a stent in her heart and the other to seal the opening. Deon informs the camera she also needs to gain enough weight, since Dawsyn, who is only a day old, needs to be stronger in order to have surgery. Reminiscent of their lost son, Deon can do nothing but pray. According to Heart.org, the kid may have patent ductus arteriosus because the triplets were born early. The major body artery, aorta, and the main lung artery, pulmonary artery, are connected by the ductus arteriosus, a remnant of the foetal artery. This artery is known as a patent ductus arteriosus if it remains open, patent, after birth. Before birth, blood can divert from the lungs via the ductus. Every newborn has a ductus arteriosus, which typically narrows and shuts in the first few days of life when the opening is no longer needed. The ductus may not always shut after delivery. The American Heart Association website states that failure of the ductus to close is common in premature infants but rare in full-term babies. Blood is normally exclusively pumped to the body by the left side of the heart and to the lungs by the right. Extra blood is pushed into the pulmonary arteries from the body artery, aorta, in children with PDA. Furthermore, if the PDA is large, the excess blood that is pumped into the pulmonary arteries strains the heart and lungs, which can lead to lung congestion. The infant may breathe harder and faster than usual if the PDA is big. Infants may experience difficulties eating and developing normally. Not all symptoms may show up for a few weeks following delivery. Because the lungs are pumping more blood than usual, high pressure may develop in the blood vessels there. According to the website, over time, this may cause permanent damage to the lung blood vessels. If the PDA has been closed with surgery, the child may not need any special precautions regarding physical activity and may be able to participate in normal activities without increased risk, it notes in conclusion. In the teaser for the upcoming episode of Doubling Down with the Derricos, Karen is seen bringing her 2 babies home while Dawsyn remains in the hospital. Many TLC viewers were moved to tears by this news and hoped for little Derrico to heal quickly. However, if one looks closely, one can notice that baby Dawsyn appears to be doing well now, as she is shown in the publicity photos of Doubling Down with the Derricos. In a January 2020 Instagram post, Mother Karen also adds that Dawsyn has returned home, stating in the post's comments that the child is doing amazing. The Derricos will remain a single, large, and most importantly, happy family because the prayers were answered.